In the last module, we have already seen that the Archimedean property plus the nested intervals property is equivalent to completeness. Intuitively, the Archimedean property plus nested intervals property plugs in all the holes. Thus, there are no holes in the real numbers. This loose intuition, however, should not be used in proofs. We have to be more precise. In this module, I will show that square roots always exist. Let me state the precise theorem. Given any positive number R in the real numbers, there is a unique positive real number A such that A square is equal to R. So, positive square root of a positive number always exists in the real numbers. The proof idea is similar to what was done for showing that the Archimedean property together with the nested intervals property implies completeness. We are going to successively approximate the required square root. By approximate, I mean put it inside smaller and smaller intervals and then use the nested intervals property to find the required square root. So, first what we do is the following. By Archimedean property, choose m1 in the natural numbers such that m1 is the largest number such that m1 squared is less than r. Okay, so there will always be a largest natural number such that m1 squared is less than r. Now clearly our candidate square root of r lies in this interval m1 comma m1 plus 1. Okay, because by hypothesis m1 plus 1 the whole squared has to be greater than or equal to r. Fine. Now what we are going to do is we are going to get a better approximation. How do we do that? We do that by essentially constructing the next digit in the binary expansion. I will not make precise what binary expansion is. I'm sure you're already familiar with it, but the essential idea comes from binary expansion. What we have so far done is we have found the digit. M1 is the digit that comes before the decimal place. This is still in decimal notation, but what I'm about to do now will be in binary just for convenience. Okay. Set m2 in 0, 1 to be the largest number such that m1 plus m2 by 2 the whole square is less than r. Okay, we already know that m1 squared is less than r. That's exactly how m1 was chosen. If I choose, there are two, the choices for m2 are 0 or 1. If m2 were to be 2, you would already get m1 plus 1 the whole squared, which we know is greater than or equal to r. So I could have just said set m2 to be the largest number. I need not specify m2 is in 0, 1. I could have just said let it be the largest number such that m1 plus m2 by 2 the whole squared is less than r. But essentially it has to be either 0 or 1. no choice for it. Okay. Now, again, by our choice, it's clear that the required square root of r is contained in the interval m1 plus m2 by 2, comma, m1 plus m2 by 2 plus 1 in the numerator. Okay. Note that if m2 were actually equal to 1, this just says it lies in the interval m1 plus m2 by 2, comma, m1 plus 1. Okay. Now, what do we do? Well, the pattern is clear. I already said we are going to extract the decimal positions in binary, the decimal digits this is sort of a tongue twister. The binary expansion of the required square root after the decimal place, not the decimal expansion. I should be precise. It's the binary expansion after the decimal place. Strange how notation evolves over time. Since decimal notation is more common, we call it the decimal point, even though it is used in binary points also. Okay. Clear that we are square root of r is here. So choose m3 as expected in 0, 1 such that m1 plus m2 by 2 plus m2 squared, sorry, not m2 squared, m3 by 2 squared, the whole square is less than r. Okay. Now the previous remark about how m2 is constrained to be in 0, 1 does not apply to m3. It can happen that m3 is 2, so I am specifically restricting it to m3 in 0, 1 just so that it fits in line with what I said about binary expansions. Okay. So m1 plus m2 by 2 plus m3 by 2 squared, the whole square, is less than r. Choose m3 like this. Fine. Now clear that square root of r has to be in this interval m1 plus m2 by 2 plus m3 by 2 squared, comma, m1 plus m2 by 2 plus m3 plus 1 by 2 squared. It's clear that if at all square root of r is a real number, it has to lie in this interval. Okay. So call this first interval that we had I1. Don't call this I1. Call this I1. Call this I2. Call this I3, so on. So we can, in this manner, I hope the pattern is very clear what to do next. In this manner, we get a sequence, or rather I will not use the word sequence. We get nested intervals, nested closed intervals, II, which I'm going to call AI, BI. Okay. The property of this AI, BI is that intervals such that R is always an element of AI squared, comma, BI squared. Okay. That's the way these intervals are constructed. Fine. Now, key fact, check that mod BI minus AI is less than 1 by 2 power I minus 1. Okay. Therefore, by the shrinking nested intervals theorem, I think I called it the nested shrinking intervals theorem. I don't really bother too much about precise terminology when it comes to things like names of theorems. Therefore, by shrinking nested intervals theorem, we must have a unique point A in intersection of I runs from 1 to infinity. Okay, so we have got a unique point. Now note that the nested shrinking intervals theorem, now I'm calling it the nested shrinking intervals theorem, don't really get mad. By the nested shrinking intervals theorem, intersection of AI squared BI squared is also going to be a single point, right? Why is this the case? Observe that BI squared minus AI squared is equal to BI plus AI into BI minus AI, which is less than or equal to B1 plus A1 divided by 2 power I minus 1. Okay, now check that all the hypotheses in the nested shrinking intervals theorem is satisfied. Intervals theorem is satisfied. Therefore, intersection of AI squared comma BI squared is a single point. But observe that the number R is there in AI BI. That's how these, are there in AI squared BI squared. That's exactly how these AIs and BIs were constructed, so that R is always there in the closed interval AI squared BI squared. Hence, this single point has got to be this R. Okay, this has got to be R. That means if you look at intersection of AI BI, which is going to be the single element A, then A squared is there in AI squared BI squared for all I. Putting all this together, we get A squared has got to be equal to R, right? Hence proved. So we have found a square root for this number R. Just one more thing, we have to check uniqueness. Uniqueness is easy. I leave it to you. Uniqueness is easy. Now, this proof essentially has an idea, the idea of binary approximation of the required square root. The details are a bit involved, but nothing is difficult. Everything is quite straightforward. It's just a bit involved. Go through this proof carefully. You will understand how crucially we are using the nested intervals property as well as the Archimedean property. This is a course on real analysis, and you have just watched the module on existence of square roots.